foreclosure. And that's a document that has to be signed off by the treasurer and submitted to the registry of deeds. So, not entirely sure when we decided that we were not going to foreclose on the quarter shares at the hotels, but I believe it was sometime around 2010.
That was when the town meeting vote said, and did we say we're not foreclosing, or did we say we don't want them back? And I guess that's trivial, but I don't know if that's trivial. I mean, does anybody know what that vote was? Do you guys remember what? I know the intent was that we didn't want them back because we thought we had to pay HOA fees.
Okay, so, I mean, I can certainly do a to-do list and look at the town report and try to figure out
What we voted on.
what we voted on. I have not done that. I
You guys
believe,
remember that? And I'm not trying to add more work, Amy, this is a better pitch.
I wouldn't remember the date, no.
I don't remember exactly what the vote was. I know the intent was to not take them back, but, Brooks, you don't remember that, do you? All right. I'm not trying to add work, Amy, if it's.
nope, let's just get it right.
Yeah,
What year was that?
We're gonna have to look.
Okay.
yeah,
that's right,
that,
okay.
there's a dilemma.
Okay,
But my guess it's somewhere is in the 2009 to 11 timeframe.
okay.
10 years ago-ish?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, before that you didn't have a ton of them, but once we went into the economic downturn and the real estate market went south,
Right.
but we'll come back with you with all
Yeah.
of that information. So I've learned some stuff. I learned that it is a rather complex, lien law is very complex, so the lien just automatically forecloses. You put a lien on a property, they don't pay, you don't waive it, it automatically forecloses. Now, the town's responsibility is to send out the notices in a timely manner. So you have to send out the 30-day notices 8 to 12 months from the time you commit. And then you have to send out a notice from 45 to 30 days before you're going to automatically foreclose. And we went through, you're going to find in here, we went through each one of the quarter share accounts to see if we sent those out. We have copies of the receipts or the green cards or the letters or whatever. And then, to look through those and make sure, hey, do we have all the proper documentation? So when we go to town meeting and ask the voters, realistically, you're probably not getting $1,570.41 as of today for a one-bedroom unit at the Jordan.
But these are the ones that the paperwork's correct, everything, these are the
So
ones that,
if you
these are the
see-
ones that we theoretically own, or
if you
technically own.
We own all of them. Because it's separate, so once you lien, it forecloses. Whether or not you do whether or not we send out the notices or not. If we don't send out the notices in a timely manner, and I'm talking about the foreclosure notice, so I don't send out the foreclosure notice within 45 days of foreclosure. That's on the town to do it again and give them an additional 45 days so that they have an opportunity to pay off their taxes. But the foreclosure happened.
Yes, sir.
Just a question, you may wanna have ready the verification that this was changed in the date.
What was changed?
That you don't have the right to sell tax, property that's. I'm unclear as to how come we're in this situation. You know what I mean?
That should be some of the facts that they come up with on the, going back.
So, are you asking, the board has the authority right now to dispose of tax acquired property, but it has to be for no less than what the principal is, the interest and the cost. And that, I don't know that we're gonna get that. So that's why we have to go back and ask the voters for a different scenario for tax acquired, disposition of tax acquired property. Because if we can't get what is owed to the town for the back taxes, we need to know if the town's okay with us getting whatever we can, so we can get it into somebody's hands that will pay.
I understand that part, but you started off the conversation referring to something that was changed at some date in the early 2000s.
Oh, so do you remember when the town chose to stop foreclosing on the timeshares?
No, but that's the part that you should be clear before you even go there.
So that's, the change, Brooks, is the town voted not to take them back. The mistake, not the change, the mistake is we did. So that's done. And the vote that we took, we couldn't take. Because, well, I guess we could have, yes, we could have. So the town voted not to take them back. We took them back because we didn't stop the lien process. Good
Yeah.
timing.
I
So that's,
understand that.
right.
But there was an indication that before we were able to do something and now we're not. Because of the change that was made at some date. Isn't that how?
I think that is the, going back in the records and find out what year and date, or what town meeting.
What exactly we voted
They
on.
voted on it.
Exactly, that's what
Well,
I
And
think.
she's got that on her list of things to do.
so that, the change you're talking about, or the new information that we have that we didn't know before, we thought if we took them back, we'd have to pay the HOA fees. We do not. That's not a change, that's an awareness,
Okay,
right? I mean, nothing changed, we just didn't know that. So there's, and, you know, semantics, right? There's what changed, even though it didn't change, it's just, it was our lack of knowledge. But right, we gotta get the town to, you know, imagine coming in cold,
Yeah,
because right after you get this all out.
right. That's, and I'm okay with that, that's the struggle where, cause and I don't wanna say that, I keep saying it cause I think I'm minimizing it, but it is really more complex than a lot of other things we do here.
I can understand that.
And I'm required to lien the properties so that we can ensure payment. And I learned that the only way you can stop a foreclosure is to issue a waiver of foreclosure. And I've never done that. I've been doing this for 13 years. Or you cannot lien them. And in my prior job, we just did not lien the property in which we said we weren't gonna foreclose. So a bill got created and,
But doesn't
and-
that go against state statute?
yeah, but that's the way they did it. I never signed off on a waiver of foreclosure.
But statute says you have to.
Yep. Mhm. Yep.
It's just one more complication to,
Yeah.
one more layer to this friggin' onion that never seems to end.
Yeah. But once you start a lien, once you have issued that lien, it automatically forecloses. So,
Unless you do the waiver,
unless you do the waiver,
which happens after you start the lien.
yes, yes. So you have that 18-month window from the time you lien it to the time it forecloses to issue that stop foreclosure notice.
So there is the one piece that the town could have lived up to the town vote saying, don't take them back. Kept the tax collector out of jail because the tax collector did their job according to state statute, and we didn't take them back. So we could have done that.
Yeah.
We'd still have $50,000 worth of
Yeah.
unpaid taxes. you know, with it, so it doesn't fix any of that, but,
Well, I think we would have been in a worse situation if we had followed through and done the waiver because we would have had no ability to sell those properties. And the ownership of those properties would have been in limbo.
right.
So
In one way, we got lucky.
in one way, we got lucky because at least now we can address the issue, possibly get somebody to own these units that are willing to pay their taxes, and that's in the benefit of the town.
Nobody did anything malicious.
No.
Nobody did anything that's, you know, you're in trouble for. No one's getting written up for doing something wrong. Fact is, we did something wrong. So, but it was, you know, and I know lack of knowledge is not an excuse, but it was lack of knowledge. I think it's like, back to your complicated, it's complicated.
Yeah. I always tied the two together. If you didn't send out the notice, if you didn't let them know that you were foreclosing, like that kind of stops the foreclosure. I always tied the two together, and then I learned this week that no, it doesn't. It ties the hands of the town to be able to dispose of it.
So we're an hour and 5 minutes in, and we're trying to come up with a date for a town meeting. Let's focus on that for the next couple and see if we can figure out when we wanna do the two options are to try to pick a day next week because it's not vacation week, or do it during the vacation week, which gives us a little more time, but maybe a challenge for people to come. Whatever you guys wanna do is, then think and finish his motion.